Conversations with Nicole. Conversations with Nicole. Let's talk about it. Tell me all about it. I'm here. I wanna know what's on your mind. Ooh, the world needs to hear from you, and I'm so glad to have a conversation to reach the nation. And it's all about you. We'll help each other to discover innovative ways to positively change the world. Let's talk about, let's talk about, yeah. Let's talk about conversations with Nicole.
Welcome to Conversations with Nicole. I am Nicole Everett, your host, and my very special guest is Miss Rahkiah Brown, the CEO of the South City Foundation. Welcome, Rahkiah.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, so you are new to Tallahassee, relatively.
Yes.
Yes, and what's your experience been like since you've moved here and taken on the helm, the leadership of the South City Foundation?
Yes. Well, I have to say it's such an honor to be here in Tallahassee. There's so much culture. There's such a rich communities here in Tallahassee. I spent about 17 years in Gainesville, and then I grew up in Fort Lauderdale, so 17 years and 18 years in Fort Lauderdale. And this is my first time encountering such a rich community with so much culture. Taking on the role of CEO at the South City Foundation has been a blessing to me. It is truly an honor to take and stand on the shoulders of folks who've already been doing this work in the community and taking it to the next level. And so I have been enjoying it. It has been busy,
yes,
not gonna lie.
I'm sure.
There's been a lot of work. But I am really excited about where we are and where we're going.
And talk to me a little bit about your work in Gainesville in terms of what you were doing.
Yeah, so my previous role, I was the Director of Community Impact at United Way of North Central Florida. And so I oversaw all of our grant processes and managed relationships with all of our impact partners.
Nice.
And so we had about 36 nonprofit impact partners that we worked with within education, financial stability, and economic health and wellness,
Okay.
And so managing those relationships, we would grant out funds to the community every year. And so just helping the organization strategize and understand how we can have an impact on the community and how we can work with partners to see that impact reach, the counties that we served.
Nice. Well, it sounds like that work kind of assists you
absolutely
with what you're doing now.
Absolutely. I United Way pretty much raised me,
okay.
I would say, in my career.
Yeah.
And then taking this step into the CEO role, I just remember the days that I, told my old CEO that I was leaving, and they just celebrated me so much. I was so humbled by that.
Yeah.
Our work with United Way covered about 5 counties.
Oh, wow.
Which is a lot.
It is.
I always had a deep desire to see deep impact happen in communities. And so what I really enjoy about my work here in South City is that we are place-based and neighborhood-focused. And so I get the opportunity to really take up the mantle of seeing how we can go deep in one neighborhood and seeing systemic changes take place over time, which is the purpose-built model. So we are a purpose-built community.
Nice.
There are about 26 different communities across the country that follow this purpose-built model.
Gotcha.
And so we are the Tallahassee branch of that purpose-built community model, which is focused on place-based initiatives, so focused on neighborhood revitalization.
Okay, great. Yeah. Now talk a little bit about the boundaries of South City.
Sure.
Because some, people may have heard,
yes,
the term or the name South City, but not quite sure what that encompasses.
Absolutely. So as a purpose-built community, we have outlined a neighborhood that we focus in. And so down Orange Avenue, if you're coming up Orange Avenue, it would be starting at Dozier, go down to Orange Avenue, down to Monroe, and then we go back to Meridian.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I didn't
Yep.
realize it went that far
Yeah.
down.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow. Cool. So you mentioned purpose built.
Mm-hmm.
What's the focus of South City Foundation specifically within the purpose built framework?
Sure. So Purpose Built is a model for, it's a nationwide network that follows a model for place-based community revitalization that is neighborhood and neighbors driven.
Right.
And so the real bread and butter of it is getting behind residents to help build leadership capacity and really take the vision that they see for their community and help them bring it into fruition.
Okay.
And so it's about empowering residents in that. And so we do have pillars that we focus on: cradle to career education, economic vitality, health and wellness, and then it's all kind of brought together with a mixed income housing model.
Yes.
And so in order to see neighborhood transformation and to see folks have the opportunity to see development in their neighborhood, infrastructure development, and really bring people from different economic backgrounds into one neighborhood, you have to have that anchor of mixed income housing to see that come to pass.
Absolutely.
And so any purpose-built community that you visit will have some type of initiative around mixed income housing. And really the vision behind that is in one neighborhood, someone should be able to, have the resources and support they need and be proud of the housing that they're living in if they're on affordable housing.
Right.
And if they want to, as they, travel down up the economic ladder,
right.
they can still stay in the neighborhood. They don't have to leave the neighborhood. So they can purchase a home in the neighborhood, and so we really see a vibrant neighborhood being somewhere where anyone, no matter where they are in their journey, can find it as a place called home.
Nice. I love all of that.
Yeah.
Yes. And then the education component, I know that Hartsville Elementary has done some things, in conjunction with South City.
Absolutely.
So talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So we have 3 pipeline schools that we focus on: Hartsfield Elementary, Fairview Middle, and Rickards High School. Specifically at Hartsfield, we have been able to celebrate with them becoming the first primary years program IB in Tallahassee.
Yes, that's very exciting.
It's very exciting. This is a lot of the work that happened before I came. And so I've kind of come in on the bloom of that.
Yes.
There's lots of seeds and lots of work that has been put into place before I came here to get that process going. We were helpful in supporting teachers being funded going through the training for the IB program.
Nice.
And so that would make 2 schools in our pipeline IB schools. So we have Hartsfield as a primary years IB,
right.
and then Rickards offers an IB program. So the thought behind it is that families who live in the neighborhood have access to high quality educational opportunities and that are in their proximity.
Okay, good. And I think Fairview is also, they were at IB at one time at least, so that might be 3.
Yeah, there might be. I think there were. Yeah, there might be some works on. It'd be great to have a whole pipeline of IB programs.
Wow.
So
yeah, that's great. So, what are some of the initiatives you all are currently working on?
Yes, I'm really most proud of our work with our Block Champions. And so we have 4 residents in the neighborhood who work alongside us, and we meet with them to talk about what are the things they want to see in the neighborhood. And so 2 of them are leadership members on the South City Neighborhood Association.
Okay.
The South City Neighborhood President and Vice President are both Block Champions.
Okay.
And so we meet with them to talk about how they want to see transformation happen, what we can do to support them. We have been funded by the Knight Foundation grant in support through the Community Foundation here in Tallahassee to do that work. And I think that is the most exciting part of my job because we get to dream together.
Yeah.
And so even last night I was just driving around the neighborhood with one of our Block Champions and we were just like, wouldn't it be nice to see this here and that here, and just dreaming about, what the neighborhood could look like. And so we have the opportunity to provide training and support to them, and also to expose them to other purpose-built organizations that are a little bit further along in their growth spectrum than we are, so they can get exposed to what's possible.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, the foundation has done, like as you've already stated, a lot of work before you got here.
Yeah.
And so oftentimes I have found that maybe residents are a little skeptical about getting involved or trusting
Sure.
outsiders coming in, or
Sure.
that sort of thing. How have you dealt with that?
Yeah.
In terms of, especially with you being a relatively newbie here in Tallahassee.
Yes.
How have you dealt with that?
Well, before, accepting the position, that's something that I thought about, right? Because I do have a lot of experience of working with communities and neighborhoods. And I think a community should be kind of questioning, who's coming in to take this role and what they're doing. And so I think a term that has been going around the network is moving at the speed of trust, right? And so that is the position that I have. I think that, working in our communities, there should be a level of wondering and questioning what's going on and how this new leader is going to perform, and build that trust.
Yeah.
And so for me as an organization, we have to move at that speed of trust. So that means really being accountable to the work that we're doing, building relationships, and taking the time to really build those foundational blocks. But I think any community should have a level of questioning around, what is this organization doing here and how they're going to help us. But I think by building those relationships, being accountable, and just listening and responding to what we're hearing is the way that we have to build that trust with the neighborhood. So I envision us continuing to build out those relationships in the neighborhood, and that together, folks will start to see that we really do want to empower our neighbors and our residents to help move this vision forward.
Yeah, I'm glad you said listening, because that is a big part of it.
Listening is huge.
Yeah. Have you all had some listening sessions?
Not yet. It's on the horizon.
Okay.
We've done a lot of work with our Block champions, but we haven't gotten out and doing listening sessions yet. But if I could just speak to a little bit of, we've had some recent storms in the community. And so we will be going out and talking with residents about the impact of that storm on the neighborhood.
Yeah.
That will open up doors for us to start organizing some listening sessions and some focus groups around not just how the storm has impacted them, but how we can, as an organization, continue to understand the needs of the neighbors and the residents, and also what is the fingerprint of the neighborhood, right? What is the collective culture of the South City neighborhood, and how can we help elevate that and highlight that?
Have you found it challenging at all to understand what the culture is of South City?
I won't say challenging, because I think coming into this, I knew it takes time. And so I wouldn't say it's challenging. I think it's just a matter of being in places to listen and learn.
Okay.
And so that's what I've been strategizing and doing, is just putting myself in places where I can hear, what's going on, talking to individuals from the community, and just listening to what they have to say. I wouldn't say, I think to call it challenging would have an expectation that I'm, expecting something to happen fast, or, I don't think that, again, I think it goes back to moving at the speed of trust.
Right.
And so I kind of see it as just needing to build out trusting relationships to really go deep and understand what that culture is.
Have folks been willing to share their stories with you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. We've done some canvassing in the neighborhood and have been able to talk to folks, and they'll talk to us at their door, which is great.
Yeah.
And our Block champions have shared a lot of legacy and history with us. And so I'm eager to kind of get out there and see what other stories we're able to uncover and learn.
Indeed. That's great. I'm glad to hear that.
Thank
Now,
you.
when you and the Block champions, or even the board for that matter, dream, what are some of the things that you dream of?
Oh man, we want to see some infrastructure development in the South City neighborhood. We want to see revitalization of homes in particular, new homes. We want to see it to be. We want it to be a place where residents feel proud of. We have homeowners in the neighborhood that are already proud of where they live because they have long legacy there, and just going to some of the South City neighborhood association meetings. They want to see roads better. They want to see lights on streets. They want to see just the neighborhood kind of see some revitalization that makes it more walkable, easier to travel, and just to hear some of their voices and their dreams come into fruition. So some of the residents have been talking about wanting to see a community center in the neighborhood, and access to more parks and things like that. So those are the things that we've been hearing. And I think as we continue to go down this path, we'll start to see more dreams start to arise.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting that you say that about the community center, because I've collected some stories of some residents of South City, and one of the things that they talked about is prior to the Orange Avenue apartments being there was a big field, and the children would play there, baseball, softball, that sort of thing.
Sure.
I could definitely see there are a number of children in that community.
Yeah.
I live adjacent to the community,
Yeah.
and I know that there are a number of children there. So some place for them to go and be able to play and learn and grow would be great.
I think that's so important, and just connect with each other. And when kids come together, it connects their parents, it connects the neighborhood, and I think pouring back into our youth is kind of where the legacy starts, right? And so when you have a neighborhood that is really receptive and provides all those amenities that youth can feel safe and excited and have places to play, learn and grow, it's a vibrant neighborhood.
Absolutely. Now, how important are stakeholders that aren't necessarily in the neighborhood, don't live in the neighborhood, but are in the neighborhood for whatever reason, whether they work there, because there is some commercial, in that area. How important are stakeholders to what you all are doing?
It's very important because we see, even though we're place-based in the neighborhood, thriving neighborhoods change a community, right? And so the work that we're doing in the South City neighborhood bleeds over into all of Southside Tallahassee. So we see ourselves as a part of supporting all of the things that we want to see change and be revitalized and grow in the south side of Tallahassee. Because we focus in just on our neighborhood, our residents, they travel and they visit and they patronize, stores and businesses. And so it's really a stakeholder opportunity to get involved and see transformation that can happen from place-based work, and how that can eventually turn into a ripple effect that we see in the community as well.
Indeed. You mentioned the culture of Tallahassee that you did not know prior to coming. What have been some of the things that you've been able to take part in since you've been here?
Well, I went to my first FAMU game.
Okay.
That was outstanding. I've always been a huge fan of the Rattlers. I've been a Florida girl my whole life, and I have listened to Joe Bullard, the voice of the Marching 100, since I was a child. And so, being here and going to a FAMU game and experiencing that was so much fun.
Nice.
What are some other things? I had a chance to go to the Village Square history.
The Created Equal event.
Created Equal event. That was such an outstanding event. It allowed me to start learning a little bit more about the history of Tallahassee. I was very, shocked to learn that much of the residents in Tallahassee, the history, the population, were enslaved individuals. And that gave me so much more of a reverence for this community, because it means that individuals who are living here now come from direct generational enslavement. And so it just shows like the pride and also the resilience that exists in this community, and that just has really made me so proud to just be here and be a part of the community and the work that's happening here.
Nice. Now, what are some of the things that you like to do when you're not working diligently?
Yes,
in the South City community.
Yes. Well, I'm a very adventurous person.
Okay.
I love to ride roller coasters. 2 years ago, I went skydiving,
What?
and I loved it. I would definitely do it again.
Okay.
It was so exciting. I am a violinist, and so I'm hoping once I get my schedule settled and everything, I can join maybe a quartet group or an orchestra here, because I do love playing violin.
Nice.
I love to eat, so trying new restaurants, going out to eat and spending time with family and friends.
Yeah.
Getting away, and my family still lives in Gainesville, so I'll go back and visit them. So
Nice.
Yeah.
And now, what's some of your favorite foods?
Oh man, I think it's easier to say what I don't like. I like so many things.
Okay.
I love pad thai is one of my favorite foods.
Mm-hmm.
I love good barbecue.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a sweet tooth.
Okay.
So I love desserts.
All right.
I love a lot of
It sounds like
foods.
you like it all.
I do. It's easier to say what I don't like. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now, what are some of the things that you do after maybe a stressful day? How do you unwind?
Oh man, that's a good question. My community has been getting on to me about work-life balance, but working out, has been something that's very important. I've noticed for my mental health and physical health. I love to binge watch my favorite TV shows.
What you watching? What you like to watch?
Bridgerton.
Okay.
Have you seen Bridgerton?
I haven't.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. They just came out with the next season of Bridgerton, so I've been watching that. I love parks. I love to go to the park.
We got
I
a
love
lot
to
of
be
nice
in
parks
nature.
and trails here.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that's what I really, really love about being here. I'm extroverted in my job, but I'm kind of an introvert after work.
Gotcha.
So I'm kind of like home chilling. But also there's been so many like festivals and concerts here. I had a chance to go to the Gospel Explosion.
Okay, nice.
I've been to Wind Down Wednesday. It's been great.
Good.
It's been a great experience.
Well, I'm glad you have been able to do some of the work-life stuff and meeting some new people. And,
absolutely.
I try to bring you on
Yes,
board
you
with
do.
things that are happening in the community.
Really instrumental in getting me out and about
Yes.
having some fun too, which I really appreciate.
You gotta do it.
Yes.
Gotta do it. Now, what are some of the things what are some of the impact that you're hoping to make with your work with the South City Foundation?
Yeah. I'm hoping that, as we continue to move our work forward, that it's something that residents see themselves in. And largely that is driven by their voice. And so I think that would be a huge success for us. I'm looking to see how we may be able to support our neighborhood with having some of the access to things that they need, right? So early learning, access to quality early learning. How can we inspire the next generation to be leaders in their community as well? So we have our block champions, but how can we do something with our youth so that they see themselves and also see the legacy that their community has? And so I'm hoping that, as we focus on the next stages of our growth with the organization, we'll see our community begin to just be a little bit more loud and proud about who they are and where they come from, and that they can use us as a platform to kind of highlight their voices and elevate their voices.
Nice. Well, I think you'll do a great job
Thank
in
you.
coordinating all of that.
Thank you, Nicole.
Now, what do you believe is your greater work, which would kind of be the equivalent of your superpower?
A long time ago, I'm a praying woman, and so this was years, maybe at least 10 years ago, I was praying and asking God, like, what am I going to be doing? And there was a resounding feeling of like building bridges. And I've noticed that in every journey of my career, I've been in positions to build bridges or make connections and just be in a position to provide opportunities for empowerment to see people's dreams come to pass. And so whether that be through stewarding resources to communities that typically have not had those resources, speaking up for the voices of those who don't have the opportunity to speak up, I think my bigger purpose and why has been to build bridges and make connections, to help folks realize their dreams and their goals.
Nice. Well, I wish you well with building those bridges and making those connections. Specifically with the South City neighborhood and all who are, a part of that community.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
This is an honor.
My pleasure. My
such an
pleasure.
honor.
My pleasure. Keep up the good work, and please let us know how we can support you.
I will. Thank you.
All right. And thank you all for joining Conversations with Nicole, where we are connecting the community through conversations.
Manly Manor, an executive suite nestled in Tallahassee's J. Gaither Park, offers a 4-bedroom house with a chef's kitchen and luxurious amenities. It's close to FAMU, FSU, the airport, and the historic J. Gaither Golf Course. Your home, away from home. Book today at manlymanor.com.